The race is on, and instead of taking the steady approach of a marathoner, several of the Premier League's giants are out of the blocks, like sprinters. It was not until the third week of last summer's transfer window that the traditional Big Six completed a signing, with Tosin Adarabioyo joining Chelsea as a free agent and Lucas Bergvall arriving at Tottenham from Djurgården on July 1st. But already this summer, despite the window not opening until Sunday, Manchester United have made their £62.5 million move for Matthias Cunha. Liverpool have done a deal for Jeremy Frimpong with Florian Wirtz, possibly following along the path from Leverkusen, and Arsenal are putting the wheels in motion to add the striker they so desperately need. The calendar is undoubtedly a factor behind this active start. Last summer's window began the same time as the Euros. This year's starts early and pauses briefly to factor in Chelsea and Manchester City's participation in the Club World Cup. But it is hard to ignore the two other major circumstances prompting this early rush into action. Top of the list is the chase for goal scorers. The absence of a prolific number 9 was the main reason behind Arsenal being unable to prolong their title challenge. A centre-forward capable of finding the net would have eased the crisis at United. Chelsea's biggest weakness is the absence of a ruthless finisher, and even Liverpool have rued Darwin Núñez's misfiring. They are all fighting for a dwindling number of strikers, which is why Liam Delap is commanding such interest after one good season for a team that won just 4 games all season. Chelsea are keen, so too United, and the Ipswich players' representatives have already been holding talks with a number of clubs, pointing to a speedy resolution. Swedish striker Viktor Gyökeres, meanwhile, looks destined for North London, as Mikel Arteta hopes to add the final piece after the Gunners' rate of improvement slowed to incremental. That is another transfer that is expected to be completed early in the window. With the Arsenal hierarchy no doubt wary of losing out on their top target, they are also expected to announce the signing of Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad early on. Yet it is not all about the supply and demand of strikers. By ending Manchester City's era of dominance, Liverpool have opened up a window for their rivals to win a title. This time last year, most clubs will have been dreaming, but not necessarily believing that they could unseat Pep Guardiola's side. Now they are all certain they can do what Arne Slot's side managed, if they can get the recruitment right. That is why this window could have long-term repercussions, why the gap between success and failure is so thin. And we could look back on 2025 a few seasons from now as a period that defined an era. And that is before considering the long-held fact that the ability to have new acquisitions report for duty at the beginning of pre-season, rather than arriving a couple of games into the campaign, is rather valuable. Just do not expect a hectic deadline day if the business is completed early. An England wonder kid once rated as being better than Declan Rice has announced his departure from his current club, 3 years since he last made an appearance. Reece Oxford burst onto the scene at West Ham, starring on his debut against Arsenal. Oxford was just 16-year-old when he started that 2-0 win back in August 2015. But a decade on, and his career has stalled after a succession of injuries and a battle with long COVID. After struggling for game time at the Hammers, Oxford was sent out on a series of loans. He spent time at Reading, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Augsburg before making his move to the latter permanent in 2019. He eventually became a key man for the Bundesliga side, making 56 appearances between 2018 and 2019, 2020, and 2022. But he suffered a meniscus tear, forcing him to undergo knee surgery before his comeback was ruined by a hamstring problem. Oxford then began battling the long-term effects of COVID-19 in summer 2022. Despite working with specialists, he struggled to return to the pitch, with his last appearance for the senior team coming in a 1-0 defeat to Bochum in November 2022. He did play 76 minutes for Augsburg's reserve side in March 2023, registering an assist in a Regionalliga Bavaria win over SV Wacker Burghausen. But that was to prove to be his last appearance for the club, with the 26-year-old now announcing his departure. I just wanted to say a big thanks for the last 6 years. Obviously, you haven't seen me for the last 2 years, the Englishman said in a video posted on the German club's social media accounts. But the times when I was playing the fans were always great to me and always kept me going through the hard times as well, even Corona times, which was hard for me. So yeah, big thanks, and hopefully I can come to a game as soon as next season and I see you guys again. Thank you.